Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. And welcome to yet another special edition of the Cape Health Tech Week. My name is Geoffrey, in West Grow, and I'll be moderating this session on bioeconomy products. So throughout the week, we have been receiving some great insights from the industry experts and all the stakeholders falling under the health tech sector. And in the same spirit of learning from one another, I welcome you once more to this small talk on bioeconomy products. So maybe to just give a brief intro into our topic, it is noted that Cape Town and Western Cape is home to the Cape Floral Kingdom, which has over 9,000 plant species endemic to the area. And these species, by the way, they are globally recognized plants such as rooibos, honeybush, and buchu. And now there's a great deal of more botanical products that are being explored. So the diversity of the plants available, coupled with the indigenous knowledge of the region, offers excellent opportunities for further research and product development. Therefore, in our midst, we have experts in this field who are going to update us on the latest trends in bioeconomy products, and they are also going to share some of their insights about this unique opportunity. So before I introduce the speakers, I would like to take us quickly through some of the housekeeping rules. Firstly, please let us make sure that our mics are muted at all times so that we may not distract our speakers from sharing the wisdom that they have brought us. Secondly, let us make use of the Q&A function at the bottom of our screens. Yes, also the chat box, which is also at the bottom of our screens. But let's make sure that we do not post our questions in the chat section, for we may end up risking our questions not being asked. But lastly, I encourage each and every one of us in this session to make use of the chat section, as we are now in an economic recovery phase ever since the lockdown started. Let us make sure that we go away with enough insights which will allow us to robustly accelerate growth in this sector and within the region at large. So without wasting much of your time, with us we have Dr. Revo Aya, the Director of Technology Transfer and Industry Linkages at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Dr. Aya has a long career in the university environment in a wide range of roles. He completed his PhD in molecular biology in 2002 and went on to achieve an LLB degree with electives including IP law, forensic medicine, environmental law, an MBA dissertation focusing on valuation of intellectual property, and most recently a Master's of Law, LLM in intellectual property. And as a researcher, Dr. Aya was involved in various fields of biotechnology research, culminating in him leading to the transgenic maize research program at UCT. So thank you so much, Doctor, for having us. We also have Dr. Sechaba Barateng, an IKS program manager at CSIR. Dr. Sechaba holds a PhD in microbiology from the University of the Free State and a Master's of Management in Innovation Studies from the Wits Business School. He holds several certificates on advanced intellectual property management and bioentrepreneurship. He is currently serving in the Complementary Medicines Quality and Manufacturing Subcommittee of the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority, as well as Bioproducts Advancement Network South Africa of the Department of Forestry and Fisheries. So thank you so much, Doctor. At this point in time, I would like to call upon Dr. Aya to tell us more about what he is currently doing in his current role, and what he has to give us on the topic that we have at this point in time. So thank you so much. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, Geoffrey. I'm going to quickly share my screen. So I'll take the opportunity at the same time of thanking Westgrow for this opportunity and platform, and good day to all of you in attendance. Okay, so I'm hoping that's visible. I'm just making it full screen.
Yes, it is.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so okay. Thanks again, Geoffrey, for this opportunity. So as indicated by the title, I'm talking to this opportunity, which is Bambara groundnut. It's an indigenous African product. I think in line with the movements now in the alternative protein sector, I think this could have a valuable contribution to the South African bioeconomy. So as Geoffrey has mentioned, we're actually quite blessed in South Africa in that we have large amounts of biodiversity. In fact, in terms of the Conventional Biological Diversity team, they've indicated that South Africa has 10% of the world's biodiversity in terms of the flora. And very importantly, beyond the Cape Floral Kingdom, and I'll show you the picture on the right-hand side, we have 3 of the world's biodiversity hotspots out of around 32, if I remember correctly. So 3 out of around 30 hotspots in the world occur in South Africa. And you can see all 3 of those hotspots, to a certain extent, you see some of them overlapping in the Western Cape region. So there is a lot of potential in terms of bioeconomy in the country. And the CB has noted that there's about 65% endemism in terms of our flora in the country as well. So there's a lot of opportunity, most certainly here. So looking at the continent, so more broadly with a larger lens, you see there is a large amount of biodiversity in the continent. You're looking at the Horn of Africa around Ethiopia, Abyssinia, and then you're looking around the Nigeria, Senegal type of region as well. So in terms of exploiting what we have here, lots of these crops are actually grown in subsistence levels. Now I'm looking beyond the rooibos, honeybush and the like. I'm looking at the other types of crops exploited in Africa. There is an opportunity to actually convert these to cash crops, to actually bring in more income, create more jobs in the country, and that's what I'm going to speak to you about today. So as mentioned at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, we worked on the Bambara groundnut, and I have a video which encapsulates the technology, the opportunity, and what we are trying to pursue with it. I'm hoping this works.
The technology transfer vision of the Cape Peninsula University of Technology is to create a process whereby ordinary South Africans benefit from the transfer of technology. We believe that by focusing on socio-economic benefit, we can bring positive value to the country. We measure the socio-economic benefit in terms of the number of businesses created, job creation, contribution to the economy, improvement in living standards, and transformation of industry sectors. The value we derive is that our research quality improves, we generate more industry linkages, we receive more industry funding, research infrastructure at the university is improved, and finally, the brand of the university is elevated. The university mandate is teaching and research. This is in contrast to private companies. CPUT have thus registered a wholly owned company, Aonyx Holdings, which is mandated to create spin-off companies to commercialize the university's technology. In this model, the intellectual property is retained by the university and simply licensed to the spin-off companies. Retaining ownership of the IP is important as it ensures that the IP provides value to the people of RSA in the long term. The Bambara groundnut, or round bean, is widespread in Africa. It has potential as a cash crop, owing to its nutritional composition, functional properties, and antioxidant potential. Consequently, we at CPUT have used the Bambara groundnut as a raw material to create several value-added products. These include dairy substitutes, baked goods, meat substitutes, and beverages. These products are gluten, lactose, and cholesterol-free. Aonyx Holdings is looking to create a manufacturing business, vertically integrating with other sectors in the country. The company will focus on secondary processing. The consumer product manufacture part of the value chain is largely driven by marketing expenditure. Brand is important and drives retail sales. Our preference is to leverage of the brand off existing companies. This will allow for faster scale-up of the Bambara sector. However, this does not prevent us from creating our own consumer product manufacture business and brand. To de-risk the business and to enhance the scalability, we are facilitating the development of the Bambara business sector from farmer to export. The vision is that Aonyx Holdings, in partnership with the Technology Innovation Agency, will generate investment guarantees with specific target goals. The funding will be unlocked as targets are reached and invested into the different parts of the value chain. The project will be divided into phases. Phase 1 is directed at creating a pilot plant. Here, the raw nut will be processed and converted into marketing samples. The objective is to ensure quality of product and to generate offtake agreements. The maximum timeline for this is 12 months. If successful, this will unlock Phase 2. Phase 2 is directed at creating a commercial-scale secondary processing plant. Investment in farmers would occur at this time to ensure constant supply of raw material. During this phase, CPUT will also initiate work on the development of a commercial Bambara variety. This will allow us to move away from open-pollinated varieties and strengthen our IP position. Phase 3 and 4 are self-explanatory and will likely drive themselves based on the success of the initiative. Aonyx Holdings and CPUT welcome you to be a part of this exciting new sector development initiative. We look forward to hearing from you.
I'm hoping you enjoyed that video. So I just want to contextualize this. I think people in South Africa and Africa in general don't see the opportunity in the bioeconomy sector. So I've put this two companies on the screen, Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods. These are two American-based companies, and these have been in the spotlight in the recent few years. Beyond Meat produces alternative protein product. They have a burger that's soy-based, not soy-based, pea protein-based. And then on the other side, you have Impossible Burger, which is a soy-based product, which has hemoglobin in it that gives it that bloody type of consistency similar to beef. So they've shown that these products, which are alternative protein products, have similar texture and taste profiles, very similar to beef, and people are adopting this. There is a trend towards a healthier lifestyle. There's a trend towards movement towards more environmentally conscious people. And hence there is this movement that's happening at the moment. Just to showcase this, the evidence of this movement, and so you can look towards the bottom of the screen, you'll see in that graph, in a darker green shade, you'll see Beyond Meat's IPO listed there, and you'll see the date 2019. So looking above that, you will see 1999 and 2000. So what this graph shows, and it's an important, very significant point, is that Beyond Meat had the biggest popping US IPO since the IT tech bubble in 2000. And it's very significant. This is the biggest technology IPO since the year 2000. So most certainly from the American side, bioeconomy type products, bioeconomy types companies which can produce products towards this new green type of society, environmentally conscious, healthy society, is something that they are looking towards and actually growing. I think from the South African perspective, we need to look at the same as well. Just similarly, in terms of Impossible Food, now they've raised $1.3 billion with their recent Series G investment. They generated $200 million there. Total investment to date, $1.3 billion. So as mentioned, in terms of the alternative protein market, you have a number of different crops. Typically soy dominates, and then you have wheat, and then you have the fungal-based protein. From our side, in terms of our value proposition, we're not playing in the same space. We're bringing something new. We're bringing new plant into the space. It's indigenous African plant, and we believe by bringing this into the space, we can create a lot of jobs and opportunity in South Africa. So to contextualize the opportunity further, I just want to compare to the South African sugar industry, which has been hit hard recently due to the movement towards healthier lifestyles. The industry indicated that the revenues of the entire sector is around 14 billion per year. Significantly, this sector provides around 150,000 jobs directly, and then indirectly it's just under 300,000 jobs. So in terms of the vision we've put forward, we think that if we can really exploit this opportunity in terms of the Bambara not just creating a business, but creating an entire new economic sector, we can create around 150, 160,000 jobs directly and replicate to a certain extent, or maybe even eclipse what the sugar industry has done in South Africa. So in terms of rolling this out, the university has created this company called Aonyx Foods. Aonyx Foods is wholly owned by Aonyx Holdings, which in turn is 100% owned by the university, Cape Peninsula University of Technology. So importantly, I just want to note, and the video showed this, we don't just have alternative protein-based products, which is your meat-based products. We have a dairy substitute, so we have a flavored milk. We also have a plain milk as well. We then also have fiber-based products, which can be used to fortify baked goods. And then we've produced a flour alternative, so Bambara flour. You can make biscuits, cakes, and the like. The baked goods actually taste very good because of the groundnut is made of because it's a groundnut, so it has a slightly nutty taste and tastes very good in the baked goods. And then lastly, we have the meat alternatives, as mentioned. So in terms of interest, and I think this showcases the potential of the bioeconomy in South Africa, right? Because we have a lot of interest, not just in South Africa, from all over the world. So from the South African side, the primary interest has been from the farming sector. They see this as an opportunity because Bambara is drought tolerant. So obviously it can be grown in other areas that some crops can't be grown in. It grows under the ground, so it's less risk of pests and pathogens. And thirdly, it has a shorter lead time, so you can grow potentially 2 crops per year. So there's that value for them. And then from South Africa as well, we have the Technology Innovation Agency was partnered with us, and they've indicated they see this as providing value to the bioeconomy in terms of the bioeconomy strategy. And they have been key driver in moving the sector forward. So actually getting guarantees in place so that we can not just create a small business employing a few people, but creating an entire economic sector, bringing in everybody from farming all the way to export. And then on the global front, we have significant influence from the United States. A company has come to us and tried to acquire the IP, but the problem there was they wanted to move the IP out of the country, so we weren't happy with that. We've also had interest from one of the largest beverage companies, a multinational beverage company from the US. They were interested in the beverage side of our business. And then from the UK, we've had interest from a supplier to the retail chains that they want to acquire product from us, the finished goods, to supply to the different retail outlets in the UK. And then in Europe, we've had interest from a multinational food producer who's interested in supplying our products to other countries in the world. And then lastly, we've had interest now just recently from a Singapore-based company where they were also looking at acquiring the IP. Then just importantly, just to note as well, it's quite significant, we've had interest from 2 US-based firms and 1 Caribbean-based firm to actually take the technology and do an IPO in the US. So there is massive interest in this. So what we are doing now to move this forward is we're looking for Series A investment. We're looking for an equity partner. We're looking to raise about 12.5 million rand to set up the first small-scale plant. The idea is that we need to move it outside of the university. So we have production at the university, but we want to move it out of the university to actually make sure that investors take us seriously and to get this thing in terms of quality and reproducibility, get that up to standards as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. It is very interesting to see all the insights that you have shown before us. Also, it was quite interesting the times in which we are living in, moving away from the meat-based products and going to our plant-based dieties and all that, which is also unlocking a lot of opportunities within the province, not only the province, but within the country at large. I still remember that at this point in time, unemployment has been one of the major issues, global macroeconomic issues that is stippling the environments. And I mean, with this type of statistics and the numbers that we've been showing, it really shows that it's a sector that really needs to be unlocked more and more. But yes, thank you so much, Doctor, for such insights that you have brought to us. Before we move on to Dr. Sechaba, I would kindly want to advise everyone that maybe we can also post all our questions within the Q&A button, which is right at the bottom of our screens, so that yes, by the end of the session, we may all go with our answer, with our questions answered. So thank you so much once more, and yes, over to you, Dr. Sechaba. You can go ahead, Dr. Sechaba.
Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can, Doc.
Okay. No, thank you so much. I would like to thank the organizers of this event for the invitation to share the CSIR experiences in the area of indigenous knowledge systems from the research, development, and commercialization perspective. So my name is Chaba Bariseng. I am the IKS program manager at the CSIR. So who are we as CSIR? We are the government-owned institution. We report to the Department of Science and Innovation, and the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology is a major shareholder of the CSIR. So our mandate is primarily to conduct a multidisciplinary research and technological innovation, to foster industrial and scientific development, to support government to meet its national priorities in job creation, poverty alleviation, and now narrowing the inequality. And we do that through collaboration with institutions in South Africa as well as abroad, in the academia, with other private sector companies, as well as community organizations, in order to improve the quality of life of the people of South Africa. And we have recently launched our new strategy called Industrialization Strategy, and with the following mandate, which is unpacked, to better utilize the resources of South Africa. Here we are referring to the finances, the funding that we receive from government, the people that work for the CSIR, both in the scientific fields as well as in the support staff, and then also to empower training to improve productive capacity of South Africa, and also improve technological process methods in order to improve South African industrial production. And lastly, to promote and expand on the existing industries.
Sorry for cutting you, Dr. Sechaba. Sorry, do you mind clicking the slide, the full slideshow button right at the bottom of your screen?
Oh, sorry. Okay,
no,
sorry about
totally
that.
fine. It's totally fine. Thank you so much.
Okay. Is it better now? Okay.
Yes,
all right.
It is much better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry about that. And our vision is made to accelerate the socio-economic of South Africa through leading innovation. And as I said, our mission is to promote collaboration in order to conduct quality science, to innovate, develop technologies, localize them in South Africa for the benefit of South Africa and of the South African society and private sector companies at large. And our values are centered around excellent people, integrity, and collaboration. In terms of the strategic objectives, is to we conduct research, develop technologies, and localize them in South Africa, right, to promote socioeconomic development, and to collaborate in order to improve the competitiveness of the high impact industries in support of the South African reindustrialization, and drive the socioeconomic development through quality science, technology development, and innovation to support the development of a capable state, and also to leverage and build on human capital as well as the infrastructure, primarily for science and technology, and to diversify also our income, maintain our financial stability, as well as good governance. And as I said, we have the new industrialization strategy, which resulted to a complete operating model of the CSIR. And out of that, different clusters were established. First, we have the advanced agriculture and food, as well as next generation clusters. This is where I belong. We have the chemicals, next generation health, food production, looking at manufacturing, mining, defense and security, smart places, smart mobility, and next generation enterprises. So here, CSIR, we have a board which governs the CSIR. It provides the strategic direction of the CSIR and monitor the implementation of the CSIR industrialization strategy, together with the CEO, and we have also the group executives in the chemicals, agriculture, food and health, mining, manufacturing, defense and security, natural resources, and urban infrastructure, as well as the pubs and services. And these are all supported by legal, human capital development, finance, as well as business excellence and integration. And underneath that, we have the cluster executives manager with business development and commercialization, as well as the impact area manager and the research group leaders. So our staff complement is over 2,300, out of that comprised of 1,600 for science, engineering, and technologies. So our total income is above 2.5 billion. We derive that from the royalties, as well as the licensing, as well as the 60% that we get from government. So these are our strategic partners, and these are merely based on the collaboration agreement, the MOUs that we have with them, as well as the active projects. And WESCO is not here, so we hope that we can have some active or formal collaboration with WESCO and see how we can advance technological development, particularly within the area of indigenous knowledge systems to grow and develop our bioeconomy. So in the area of indigenous knowledge systems, with particular reference to the traditional health practitioners and their indigenous knowledge and their products thereof. So here we collaborate with them on a daily basis. They approach us, right, in connection with their medicinal plants that they use for different purposes, either in the area of food, in the area of cosmetic, or in the area of medicine. So why do they approach CSIR? So since the use of the indigenous-based products are based on anecdotal evidence without scientific data. So the reason why they approach us is to really substantiate those traditional uses through scientific research that will generate the data to really support those claims. And then also the traditional health practitioner will say, no, they want to be entrepreneurial, have their own businesses in order to register their products and commercialize their products on the South African market to make money, and most importantly, to be recognized, particularly within the health sector, and to protect their own intellectual property with regards to how they formulate their products. So with regards to the CSIR, mainly the reasons why we want to collaborate with them is also to advance our mandate as well, to support government in implementing the biotechnology policy, such as the bioeconomy strategy, and to make profit because we are allowed to do so, to be recognized as an institution that plays an active role in using indigenous knowledge to promote research as well as innovation, and also to develop products that will have market relevance in South Africa, and most importantly, the conservation of the medicinal plants that these traditional health practitioners use through research and development to build the capacity for science and technology, as well as for them so that they are able to be self-sufficient and then run their own businesses with competency, and to distribute the benefits between the CSIR as well as our external collaborators in the private, in the public sector, as well as the traditional health practitioners. So our collaboration with the traditional health practitioners, in short, the THPs, is within the South African Biodiversity Act, which requires that the information that the THP share with us is highly protected through contracts. So we follow the non-disclosure agreement, material transfer agreement, and most importantly, the benefit sharing agreement. And this is how we protect our the indigenous knowledge or the traditional knowledge that the THP or the local communities share with us. We have a system that we have developed where we populate it with the information that they share with us under contracts. And this system is mainly to ensure that this knowledge is protected and preserve. So the type of knowledge that we protect is the name of the medicinal plants, where they collect it, how they process it, if there are any side effects from the use of the products they give it to their people and so forth. And so this is one case study on Lippia javanica. This plant is indigenous to South Africa, is highly regulated within the South African Biodiversity Act. So the traditional healers committee, this is a committee comprised of the different traditional healers drawn from the all the provinces of South Africa. So they approached us in connection with this medicinal plant species, which they use to treat different ailments like flu, like respiratory infections, as well as they use this plant to repel the mosquitoes, not to kill, but merely to dry it and put it on dwellings, and then they burn it. The smoke that comes out actually repels the mosquito. So that traditional knowledge actually stimulated the scientific research by CSIR. So here we did all the literature review on the plant in relation to the traditional knowledge in mosquito repellency, and identify the right chemotype, because there are different chemotypes of Lippia javanica that have superiority in mosquito repellency, the extraction of the essential oil, which was highly characterized, determined the chemical compounds and chemical markers and so forth, and then also customized the process technology for the formulation of the candle. And now the product has been, the the IP was generated as a result of the CSIR R&D process, which was then licensed to a private sector company here in South Africa. And in terms of the benefit sharing agreement, which was signed between the CSIR and this group of traditional healers committee, we managed to pay some benefits from the royalties that were generated from the commercialization of the product on the South African market. Actually, these candles, you can find them in Mpumalanga, here even in Pretoria next to my house. I use these candles, especially during summer, to repel the mosquitoes. And this is me there holding the CSIR bioprospecting permit, because this plant is indigenous to South Africa. Therefore, it is regulated under the Biodiversity Act. And so these are the traditional healers that actually shared that traditional knowledge with us. And we have all the legal agreements with them, which the most important one is the benefit sharing agreement. And now the CSIR now transferred the technology. The technology here is the right chemotype that we have identified, which has a high superiority to repel the mosquitoes, to communities of Limpopo and Guyana to establish this agro-processing business. It is completely owned by them, but the establishment was of the community-based agro-processing was funded by the Department of Science and Innovation. So basically, this enterprise cultivates the Lippia javanica on the large scale. They do processing and then oil distillation and the candle manufacturing. And we provided all the necessary capacity building to these communities to ensure that they manage this enterprise effectively. And then it has created several jobs. And then another medicinal plant species I'm sure you are all aware of is an African or wild ginger. Right. Here also, certain communities approached us with this particular plant to say they use it to treat flu, respiratory infections as well as asthma and allergy. So we followed our own process of interacting with the traditional healers to ensure that there is a proper legal framework. And then based on the traditional knowledge they shared with us, then we're able to design a research and development program that will substantiate the traditional uses of African ginger to treat allergy and asthma. So at this stage, we were so fortunate that okay, before I come to that point, we have the bioprospecting permit based on the research on African ginger, and then we are fully characterized in terms of identifying the right chemical markers. When you go for full-scale commercialization, then you know that you are working with the right chemotype that have those properties to treat asthma and allergy. And then we did the in vitro studies, we found positive results. And also we did the animal studies in vivo, and then we developed the process, optimized it to ensure that those chemical compounds become available on the finished product. So at this point in time, we were so fortunate that the Global Environment Facility has provided us with a really substantial amount of funding to do phase 1 clinical studies, amend the benefit sharing agreement with the communities to make it more inclusive, because at the moment it only represents a certain group of traditional healers. However, this plant, there may be other communities that are using it. So we need to explore such communities to ensure that they become representative in the benefit sharing agreement, and they benefit eventually. And then to register African ginger as a complementary medicines. Unfortunately, in South Africa, although we have the Traditional Health Practitioners Act, which seeks to institutionalize African traditional medicines within the primary healthcare in South Africa, but this product, sadly, disappointing. So African traditional medicines are not regulated. So now we will be registering this product as a complementary medicine that can be readily available on the South African market, like in the likes of, like in the retail stores. So this project, why the JEF is mainly focusing, their interest is on environmental protection and conservation and community recognition within the Nagoya Protocol. So as South Africa has ratified the Nagoya Protocol, we have on the Nagoya Protocol on access and benefit sharing to ensure that communities who are the knowledge holders, traditional knowledge holders, benefit from the commercialization of their knowledge. So because South Africa has ratified, so we were approached to submit a proposal, which was approved, and then now we are ready to do phase 1 clinical studies, and then also to amend the benefit sharing agreement. So this is the propagation of African ginger. We have established that through funding from the Department of Science and Technology, because this plant is highly extant. It is loved by so many, particularly the herbalists. If you go to any multi-market across the country, you will find this plant. And unfortunately, it is disappearing from its natural environment at a very, very rapid stage. So we need to ensure that we conserve it for future generation. And then we have another plant here is Molomomonadi in Sesotho, and this is the particular plant. The roots of the plant are actually sweet. So from the chemical point of view, that really prompted the R&D program by CSIR, which resulted to the identification of a chemical compound that named monatin, that is responsible for the sweetness of the root of the plant. So this compound really makes the plant is 14,000 times more sweeter than the normal sugar that we take, sucrose. So here we identified the community. This plant was identified through literature research. So we're being able to identify the actual knowledge holders of this plant who are based in the Limpopo region. And they are the Seleka and Shongoane communities. And we entered into benefit sharing agreement with the two communities, and which resulted to the milestone payment of 2.6 million. It was made in 2017. So in terms of, from the intellectual property perspective, with regards to the chemical compound, because it's a novel chemical compound, we protected it through patent and licensed it to a private sector company based in the US to develop this as a natural sweetener. So here, okay, the milestone payment was done to the indigenous knowledge holders, who are the Seleka and Shongoane, which was then paid into the National Bioprospecting Trust Fund. This is in terms of the Biodiversity Act. And the fund is managed by the department. And then the payment was made to these communities for community development projects. Then another project is on the service of traditional health practitioners through scientific research and product development. So here, this particular project has never been done before. So it was just a pilot funded by the Department of Science and Technology. Here we managed to identify 6 traditional health practitioners through a competitive process who came forward with their traditional medicine products with a range of traditional uses from HIV and AIDS, arthritis, sexual transmitted infections, diabetes, and so forth. And so the purpose of the project is merely to develop safe, quality, and standardized traditional medicine products through research, product, and process development. As you all know that the traditional medicine products that you find on the South African market are not registered and they do not conform to safety and quality standards, right? So we needed to ensure that these products really meet those quality standards and they can be transferred to the traditional health practitioners to commercialize themselves. So, but now if you are saying traditional healers should commercialize, so probably you're asking yourself, do they have the capacity, the relevant skills and knowledge to undertake such a challenging process? So we had to provide a capacity building to the traditional health practitioners. Remember my initial slides, why did traditional health practitioners approach the CSIR? One of the reasons is to become entrepreneurs. So now we partnered with the Innovation Hub through the Biopark here in Pretoria, who provided a capacity building through their coach lab, right? Focusing on business, financial, marketing, leadership, and operational skills. And they also providing the incubation support to these traditional health practitioners at their premises, and then also supporting them in developing the business plan. So in terms of the space allocation to the THPs is merely to manufacture, package, and distribute their products. So each traditional health practitioner has been allocated a mentor who have experience on marketing, like business development in general, including the resource mobilization. And then also we partnered with the South African Bureau of Standards, SABS, through their Design Institute to come on board to help us to develop the logos and the packaging of the products that the THPs wanted to be developed here. And then those logos and the packaging, particularly the logos, have been protected through the trademark. So these are some of the product formulations that we have developed. They range from the liquid consumption, cosmetics, sachets, and tea bag, as well as the health beverages. So these products have been scientifically investigated by the CSIR in partnership with selected universities in Gauteng. So, and remember, with regards to entrepreneurship and the commercialization of the product, so now we supported this traditional health practitioners in registering their companies for them to commercialize their products, generate revenue, make profit, and contribute to job creation in the country. So in terms of COVID, this is an area where the traditional medicine, African traditional medicines, are not really recognized. So now we took one of the product from this THP project to say, how can we develop this product that can be used to respond to COVID-19 infection? So here we did, based on the in vitro studies with the University of Pretoria, we found that this product has antioxidant potential due to the presence of chemical compounds called the flavonoids and phenolic acids. And they also found that the product has the potential to has the anti-inflammatory activity, right? And then also it has the potential to boost the immune system, right? As well, yes, as well as it is safe for human consumption. So now here we are close at receiving funding to take this product further to in vivo studies and clinical studies. Here is to develop it as a complementary medicine with immune boosting properties that can be registered at South African Health Product Regulatory Authority and then be commercialized on the local market to boost the immune system, like a product that you can take almost every day to boost your immune system to withstand the SARS-CoV-19 virus infection causing COVID-19. Yeah, so in terms of the conclusions, really, as I've mentioned before, South Africa really continues to be flooded by many products that do not have scientific data to substantiate the safety and efficacy, right? Although there are many initiatives going on, particularly at the university level. So from the CSIR perspective, we continue to see the following gaps within the natural product as well as traditional medicine sector, like from the lack of access to information on regulation and guidelines, right? Particularly to the THPs, even to the universities, based on my experience working with them. Limited knowledge and understanding of how the THPs can really benefit from the current legislations that government has put in place, the research as well, right, that are aimed at developing the indigenous knowledge as part of the bioeconomic growth and development. Also limited experience, knowledge and support for product development, lack of know-how on safety and quality standards for products that reach the market. Also, the limited experience on how the THP's market base really work. And then the most important thing, based on the formulations that we have developed, now we need to create the market for such product. As well as funding remains the primary challenge within the sector to continually exploring our rich biodiversity coupled to indigenous knowledge, as alluded by the previous speaker, about the richness of the Biodiversity Act in South Africa. So CSIR, we have such an extensive experience working with the THPs, the regulatory environment, and so forth, as well as we are exploring the traditional medicine to respond to COVID-19. So these are some of the relevant policies, legislation, and strategies relevant to IKS, one of them being the bioeconomy strategy of South Africa. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, colleagues.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sechaba, for quite an interesting insights that you have brought to us. And yes, it was very interesting to see how much you are incorporating all the traditional health practitioners into unlocking some of the opportunities that are very much into the economy at this point in time. So yes, I thank you once more for your presentation. At this point in time, because of our time, I will take maybe 2 questions, and the rest of them, I'm sure I will definitely make sure that we email them to all the respective people who may need answers to such questions. But from what I see with this presentation, I'm sure much of the answers that we had were directly answered. So maybe to just quickly start off with Dr. Revel, there is a question here, and I think you may quickly assist us with this one. And it's from the anonymous, and it says, learning from Rooibos' journey, how do we protect indigenous knowledge from South Africa and the various traditional groups with experience and knowledge? So over to you, Dr. Ivy.
Thanks, Geoffrey. Yeah, so I think there has been tremendous learnings in South Africa in terms of the Rooibos journey. I think the point made by Dr. Sechaba that we have ratified the Nagoya Protocol places us in a good position in terms of protecting our indigenous flora. So in terms of that protocol under the CBD, all the indigenous material in a country is now protected, and so other countries can't exploit and grow that. So for example, Rooibos, I was part of the bioprospecting forum within the Department of Environmental Affairs when it was called that. They had to stop all of the export of Rooibos at the time, unless these companies had a permit. We're actually licensed in terms of the regulations. So most certainly there is legislation in place now which protects all of our resources in this country. And I think that regulations gives us protection internationally as well. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I hope our question has been answered. And yes, to Dr. Sechaba.
May I add to that?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, yeah. Also, in addition to what Prof has just said in terms of the protection of indigenous knowledge, is that the Department of Science and Innovation, through the National Indigenous Knowledge Systems Office, they have a policy on IKS, which resulted to the development of the National Recordal System, right? That system, the department interacted with several communities where they collected all their indigenous knowledge, and then it got deposited into the system, which is password protected. It has different layers of access. If it is for research purposes, then you need to produce certain agreements within the South African Biodiversity Act. So it requires, like, you must have the prior informed consent, material transfer agreement, and the benefit sharing agreement. That way is to ensure that the knowledge is protected. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sechaba, for adding on to that. Maybe just the quick last question on you. Do we perhaps have any database for imports, exports, and sales revenue on all the traditional medicines?
At the moment, no. So, however, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, previously known as the Department of Environmental Affairs, they've now approved the Biodiversity Economy Strategy, right? Out of that strategy, different clusters were established as part of the implementation of the strategy. One of them, not the different clusters, but an initiative called BioPanza, is Bioproducts Network South Africa, right? So it has different clusters, right? So I belong in the market access cluster to actually understand when the South African biodiversity leaves the country, where does it go? How much quantities of plant species, for instance? Who is cultivating those plant species, right? When they leave the country or maybe remain in the country, for what purpose? Is it for cultivation, product development? When they leave the country, you know, we need to have that kind of data, right? That will be deposited into a database. But at the moment, we don't have that kind of data to really understand really what is happening with our biodiversity, particularly of medicinal plants for export purposes. So we are busy working on that in support of the government to implement their biodiversity economy strategy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sechaba. I hope we will be able to have the data in due course, and that almost markets can also continue to be unlocked by people having to know what exactly markets to target and the quantities and everything that they're supposed to do. But because of time, I think we'll have to end here. I see we've gone some few minutes above the stipulated time that we're supposed to have spent. But I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has attended this session. I hope we really managed to get some insightful hints onto the entire sector and what is trending, and that will be able to furthermore get into these opportunities and further unlock all the potential opportunities that may potentially be coming. So yes, thank you so much, everyone, once more. All this session has been recorded from the time that we started. So upon request, we'll be able to send anyone the video and possibly the slides as well, if anyone may be interested. But thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day further in the grateful week ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Okay.